Okay, so Twitch can hear me now, and I'm going to add my camera, and we're going to change the window capture over to Veloren so we can see everything that's going on. Toronto there, nice. The GTA. Oh, and I still haven't gotten the, oh wait, are we in the Veloren category now, streaming? Live channels. Yeah, okay, cool. How's my upload doing? Very good for upload. I'll post the Twitch in the Discord for anybody who's here on the stage. If anybody wants to check that out, see some of the gameplay. I'm in the main town. I have like a level 1 character, and so I don't want to walk out too far unless there's some cool stuff happening. But depending on if I die too much, then I'll just change over to like an admin character that won't die. I think it's super cool to see like the Veloren model in the sky. It's like there's like an airship over there, and it's very imposing. I see people are trying the wall, the climbing wall. Oh wow! So I don't know what has been done with lighting recently, like with like the pipelines and everything. But holy smokes, there's someone who has like light in the bottom right of the wall, and you can see like the shadows being cast by the different blocks, and that's impressive. That's very cool. If you're still around, are you able to check if my bitrate seems all right? All right, cool. Yeah, the last time it was not so great. Someone just pushed me off the wall. I'm lucky. Top notch. We'd love to see it. Yeah, I think especially like in caves, I know there's been, I think it was 0.11 that there's like a lot of overhauls into the items that go into cave, not items, but like the things that are in caves, and so you have like a lot more entities that are emitting light, and I think that adds a lot to the look. I don't know if I have Oh, okay. I have what should it, like 50% or? Yeah. Oh, and so actually, I guess if I can. Yeah, LOD detail or. Yeah, let's turn. Oh, okay, bit too high. I know. Okay, we'll go up to. Wait, you say 1,000? Okay, cool. And then bloom. Trying to kind of. Oh, okay, yeah. So I can see it on like this character over to the side, and yeah, I like that. As long as my computer's able to stream, then I'm vibing with some cool stuff. All right, I'm gonna walk over to this cave over here. I want to check out. I mean, actually, there's probably stuff in the cave that will kill me, right? Here, what I'll do is I'll just swap out to my character that will impose no difficulty on me. Yeah. All right, we are gonna walk though. I'm not gonna use my. Actually, let me just equip my mod stuff here. Yeah, I think with cave overhauls and also actually, so Sam mentioned the other day that there's some new stuff with raiders, and so can you tell me a little bit about that? Because I might have written about it, but I don't have too much context on that. So if you know very much about it. Oh, sorry. Actually, just half a second. I've completely forgotten. Can you say something? Okay, Jack Audio. I'm just sorry. I completely forgot that with Twitch, I need to set up Carla to, yeah, just get Discord output to go to what did I call this one? Jack input. Maybe it's not here. I'll just toss it into Discord audio. There and there. All right, can you say something?
Yep, testing.
Perfect. Looks good. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So now tell us about the raiders.
Okay, yeah, Sam added a really cool feature called cultist raiders, which are like cultists are like the main enemy and like the hardest dungeon, I guess. And so now we're able to use RT-Sim, which is like our system for real-time simulation, to basically take those enemies and kind of bring them out to the towns and have them like attack the townspeople, and then they interact with the guards that are in the town and the villagers and all of that, and you end up with like this big fight that's kind of cool to watch. But the cool part about it is that it uses the RT system, which is something that we've had for a little while, but have never really fully taken advantage of it, where we basically like those entities, the cultists, always exist regardless of whether or not the chunk is loaded, which is different from most characters and like most NPCs in games or like most NPCs in Veloren, because like they are kind of registered by the game. The game kind of always has them loaded in at like a lower level of detail, and so they might without being loaded in, decide that they're going to leave their dungeon, and then they move across the map, and you can, if you they always have a position on the map regardless of whether or not they're actually like visible, and you can always go and find them while they're in progress of moving towards their destination. And so that's something that's really cool, because I know we do stuff like we can look at the like the ruggedness of the terrain and use that to make an estimate of like how long it will take them to cross to an area, and do stuff like that. That's very cool. And I think like what we're seeing with the raids a lot is sort of like a lot of emergence in the game, which is something that we've tried to shoot for a while, where you just kind of get all these like interesting features that kind of work together to create like spontaneous outcomes that weren't really programmed in and stuff like that. And you start to get, it's just some of the really interesting parts of the game that we want to build.
Yeah, and I think like a really good point about it is, since we have this like real-time simulation system that's happening all around the world, and with the new like spot system that allows sort of like smaller encounters to happen all over the world, then tying it all together and giving that like a player-facing sort of event is like really pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, spots are really cool on like a small scale. Spots definitely make it so that like now in the game you don't go more than more than a minute or two without seeing something interesting. And like at
Yeah.
any point, yeah, and at any point with any of those like those NPCs in the spots can interact with like traveling NPCs, and you just get a lot of cool interaction that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just taking a look at the map view. We can't see spots on the map, can we? Those are
No, no. Spots are kind of, they work on a different system from sites, and so they're not as deep in the the world gen code as some of the other stuff.
I see, I see. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think there's a few people who teleported to me and who are just running through the cave with me right now. But yeah, it's so cool to just see. Like, I think the fact that you can like sort of walk through it and explore it, but then also there's just that it's like so busy with stuff on the walls and everything is super cool. I like these like firefly like things. That's super neat. And so for this like firefly, I imagine it's like some type of particle effect. If you happen to know off the top of your head.
Yeah, that's a particle. I think it responds to one of the sprites, like one of the sprites that's in here is like programmed to attract a firefly next to it, and so that'll pop up once in a while. And now with the bloom, it glows, which is really neat.
Yeah, and there's some stuff falling from like the roof and stuff.
Oh, from
Yeah,
grass. It's just grass that spawns them. Thanks, James.
yay, I like it. Everybody's fighting everything in the cave. I'm kind of just ignoring it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I think we got a little bit of a problem here, but thank goodness I got my tablet of invisibility, and so I'm just gonna watch, enjoy
What
this.
is this? Who did that? Oh, this is Yuri. Yuri must be here. No, I don't think
Yeah.
it's Yuri.
All right, people are dying all around me, and they're coming after me, but I'm just gonna let them do their job.
Oh, Karmic rated the channel. Oh, Karmic rated the channel. That's pretty cool.
Ah, yes. Yeah, I think I saw that for a second, but my Twitch paying attention skills are not oh, there's a lot going on, yeah, in chat here.
Oh, it's Sam. Sam is in this group. Sam must have loaded in a million enemies.
Yeah. Wait, here. How can I oh yeah, so if I go here and then I look up Gold Falcon, and then I can invite Sam to the party. Cool, and then Sam can invite other people or anything, but we can get something going on here. Spawn from grass. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So how many people are we at right now? We're at 169. Nice. We like to see it. And so, okay, server's still going well. CPUs are doing all right. I was wondering today if, because we had the option of going like for like a 32 core server or like a 48 core server. But it seems that the extra cores are helping out quite a lot. So yeah, I'm happy. Because last time that we had, I think our peak was 133 players. But when that happened, I think everything lagged out real quick, and I forget if that was because of like so much bandwidth usage or if it was something else, just like physics slowing down, like the tick rate slowing down. But with what we see right now, we're not experiencing that. So if we were to go up to like say like 200 or something like that, it seems right now that the first issue that we'd run into would still be like tick rate and stuff like that, but that we can still sacrifice a decent amount more. I imagine that the server is doing a little bit less ticks per second than it's expecting, but oh wow, this room is so cool. There's something that's attacking me, but we got some. I think this lava drake on our team. Maybe it's attacking me. Oh, it is attacking me. Never mind, it's not. Okay. Slipped, have you tried any of the climbing walls or anything yet?
A little bit. I managed to get to the top of the climbing wall.
Nice.
And then hopped off, and there was like an airship right there, so I jumped on. That was fun.
That's pretty cool. Every time I see these lava drakes, I keep thinking it's like lava on the ground, but then it comes and attacks me.
Yeah, it'll do that.
But it looks so cool in the dark. So the bloom, I think I've seen it in some pictures in the blog and stuff like that, but seeing the bloom in like in game is like completely different from just what a picture can show.
Yeah, it has like animation to it, and so it kind of pulsates a little bit, which is really neat.
Yeah. Of like recent animation updates and stuff that you've been working on, is there any like novel systems in animation or just novel ways of doing stuff?
Nothing like too crazy. I haven't worked a ton on the last version. I would just say that like we've added in some cool stuff lately with we added sprite pickups, which are neat. And so sprite pickups work with this like interesting setup and it's one of those things that I think is like easier for us to do since we animate through code. But but sprites are set up so that like depending on how low or high a sprite is that you're picking up, it like changes the animation kind of dynamically.
Oh, I'm not as invincible as I thought. I just died to actual lava. Oh no.
Dang.
Alright, which campfire? Alright, we're back here. Nuts. And I don't even have my part anymore. Unlucky. Alright, well that was a pretty cool cave until so I was gonna jump in it anyways, but something knocked me in. But it is what it is. Yeah, and so I think like animating through code definitely gives a lot of capability to get some like pretty unique stuff. Like yeah, with different NPCs and characters, and I think like one of the big ones was like the animation of like picking up consumables, right?
Yeah. So like we kind of through the code we can animate it so that's a little bit more dynamic, and depending on the sprite position, we can do stuff like if it's an apple and it's high above you, then you kind of like leap up onto like tiptoes and pick it up. If it's on the ground, you'll kind of crawl down for it. If it's in between, it'll do something in the middle, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, not bad.
Do we animate through code completely now, or do we define stuff in RON files still?
We're through code completely. Yeah, the runs haven't moved its way over to the animations yet, at least. Although we should probably do some stuff with that.
This airship has acquired a house. There's so many fireworks. I am super impressed on like our like lighting system and yeah, just like rendering pipeline in general. It's very impressive how everything is like rendering, but it's not slowing down my my frame rate or anything.
Yeah, and like you can run Veloren on a potato, and that really surprised me.
Yeah, I
It
think
was still
someone
around
said.
60 FPS.
Yeah, yeah. I think like since we upgraded to WGPU and it's like requires Vulkan now, then there might be like a little bit more difficulty. But yeah, for sure, it's really cool to keep that sort of objective of making sure that anybody can play the game on the hardware that they have.
Yep. I think the WGPU upgrade actually improved efficiency in multiple areas.
Yeah, I know the team working on WGPU has like some. I think WGPU 0.10 came out recently, and that one was pretty big. But then also Naga. I really enjoyed like the talk at the game Rust game dev meetup about like Naga and sort of like showing off how it can like replace like shader translations and how much faster it is and stuff like that.
Yeah, hopefully we can also get Veloren working super well on M1. There's some issues currently, but I am working with the WGPU and Winnet guys to fix that.
Nice. Yeah, it would be really cool to get it on some of that hardware, and especially just because like so the M1 has built-in graphics, right? Like right into the CPU.
Yeah, like it's not on the CPU, but it's on the same SoC, and it's wired to the same memory bus and to the same RAM.
Yeah, and so definitely like as a device that you can like use for graphics and everything like that. Yeah, just like being able to. I imagine it's strong enough to like like once it's able to run WGPU and stuff, it really shouldn't have any problems with the game. I imagine, right?
No, it runs on Metal, of course, the backend, and I think it's about comparable to a 1615 graphics performance.
I see.
Currently, I've observed some crashes. Like if you obscure the Veloren window, it crashes quite quickly. That's an underlying like WGPU issue that I've been digging in.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, it does work well on M1.
Yeah, not bad. I think it was like another WGPU related error, but I was trying Nanu, like the creative coding Rust library. I was trying it on the M1, and I was having some interesting rendering stuff with that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just some difficulties with WGPU. But I think yeah, once it's ready, I mean, having used like the M1 is great for it's a great piece of technology, and so yeah, always fun to see Rust on new targets.
Definitely. And it's working like relatively flawlessly. Once we sorted out some compiler errors, it kind
of... Ugh, gosh darn it. 1 sec. Wait, hello. Okay, I'm back. 1 sec. Okay, now I need to reset Carla back up here for a second. I joined on my laptop for a second, and because I wanted to see like everybody who's in chat, but if you click on stage and it just joins it right away, it's like okay, unlucky. Is Carla even open anymore? Did Carla crash? Maybe it did. It probably did. Okay, so can someone say something on the stage? Okay, I don't think it's going through. Let me just get that solved here. Discord goes to Discord video. Okay. All right, we should be good. Turn down my mic a little bit here. Back into the game. Stream should still be working. Okay, perfect. Oh wow, this airship has ascended. It's like an airship battle between these two. Christoph, if you want to hop in, I'm wondering if there's like any new stuff on like the economic side for 0.11 that might be interesting to chat about.
There's a very cool arena off like a little bit. Oh, there it is. You can actually kind of see it on the map right now.
On my way.
On the left over there, which is
we will observe. Oh my. There's a lot going on here. All right. Let's see what's going on. Are people... Oh, what's this? Tobermory. Oh, is that a boss?
Tobermory is like a default name for an NPC that gets spawned in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it stuck beneath the ground right now?
I think he got stuck. I don't know how that happened.
Oh,
yeah, that's a little weird. once you start spawning in use stuff using commands, it's kind of all bets are off.
Yeah. There's fish. Oh wow. This is an arena with a lot going on. I'll observe from up top. Here we go. Checking if there's anybody else. If any of the other core devs want to hop in and chat about what they've been working on, feel free. Looks like we're peaking right now at about 173 players, so 40 more than last time. Oh, we had an interesting spike right at the launch. What was this? Server events was taking a lot of time. But it's back down to normal now. Networks. Ooh, networks getting up there. We're about half the bandwidth right now that we can support. So with the systems right now, historically, like physics has been like the biggest time sink, but right now it looks like entity sync is taking the longest. And so, I don't know if anybody here knows what entity sync like covers, but is that just like, well, I guess it wouldn't be physics. It's just like either real-time simulation or just dealing with entities every frame or every tick rather.
I'm not sure actually. I think it may just be like general entity simulation, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I know someone was working on some optimizations for RTSim, but I think if I'm not mistaken, the biggest block because of physics is just that it has to happen like on a single thread, and you can't like parallelize it very easily. But I think with a lot of other stuff that you are able to. But it is interesting because I do remember like last time it wasn't entity sync that was like the system that took the longest.
Yeah, I think it can parallelize physics, but it's a major pain in the ass to do.
Physics is perfectly parallelized by like at the entity level granularity though.
Mm. And then, do you know much about like what the entity sync one is doing?
Give me a moment to check the Grafana.
All good. Or not necessarily what it's doing, but just like what's up with it. That's just entities, not RTSim. Okay, James says just entities. Have been mentioned somewhere several times. Ooh, oh yeah, that's right. Us got some other people streaming. We got, I think, Savvy Nick is probably streaming. We got Purple Soapstone also streaming. You can check that out in the media channel. So in the arena right now, is it a safe zone for people to not attack each other and just like attacking enemies?
They might have PvP turned off, which I forget if that's a default or not. I can check. But we have a PvP flag now, so that's not, we can kind of avoid the friendly fire without being in a group.
Yeah. There's a lot going on here.
So entity sync is the part that's actually sending the like the position, orientation, and velocity updates to all the entities, or to all the clients over the network.
Interesting. So I guess just because we have so many people online right now, I'm surprised. Well, do you? Yeah, I would imagine that wouldn't be something else on the main thread. And I guess like since the main thread's still doing all right, then kind of shows that that's probably not the issue.
Which of the graphs are you looking at? Because I'm seeing the for on the main game server, the total CPU burned by system per tick graph. Terrain is the like terrain synchronization, sending chunks to clients is currently the one that's taking the most time?
So, actually, yeah. So this is a good one. So I'm taking a look at the top right at the slow systems. Let me just change my screen over. Yeah. Okay. So with like the slow systems, I'm seeing that entity sync here is taking the longest, but this total CPU time burned one, this one should be fine because this implies that something is parallelizing pretty well. So terrain might be taking up like 414 milliseconds per tick, but it's also being able to do it across all 48 cores, I think. Yeah, okay, so physics is pretty high up there as well. Agent system. Oh, interesting. So the average network per player at like almost right at 2 spiked pretty high. But now we're back down to like 250 per second kilobits.
Oh, yeah, it looks like entity sync like isn't iterating in parallel over either the entities or the regions that the entities are in yet. So there is room for improvement there.
Interesting. Yeah, so like just as like I don't know, sort of breaking down what this means, like when we are building like the game server, how do we sort of like take a look at what types of stuff can be split up so it's not all running on the same core and it becomes like multi-core? So is it mostly just like we see that we have some list of something that is just being iterated over normally, or do we have to change it to like some type of thread pool or something like that? Or what does that look like?
Basically, like seeing in this case that there is like that it's iterating over regions and joining over entities, but it's not using like par join or like into par iter or anything like that. And then just like trying to rewrite it so that it's iterating over whichever structures it's iterating over in parallel, and then borrow check will like usually like point out like what needs to be moved around, what needs to be like rethought in order to get that working.
I see. Okay. And so let's say like we went and just like swapped it out, and like we got it working and everything like that. What other concerns might there be when it comes to like parallelizing certain tasks that have to be done on ticks? Or is it just like if it works, then we're good to go?
I think it's just like if it works, it works. I guess we'd like measure to make sure the parallelism like is an improvement. Like sometimes the overhead of spinning up threads to do something in parallel like ends
the
up
overhead
causing
from
it to take more time
Yeah.
overall. But like if this is currently the single threaded bottleneck, then I assume that if this can be rewritten in parallel, then it should just be faster.
Yeah. And yeah, so I guess it makes sense that we're only seeing this now that we have like so many people online, that this is like actually like a bottleneck that matters. I'm gonna try flying down this mountain here.
Oh wow, we're up to like 170 something, 180.
Yeah, we'll have to
Oh,
actually like take a look at what the record is now. It's much
yeah,
higher than before.
I think last release party it was only like 130ish. So if the server's still running well, like we're already doing like 50% better than last time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, this is actually like super surprising that's running well. One thing I've like tried at home is I have like a pretty strong server, and it's like 24 cores type of thing, and I want to have it like just spawn a whole bunch of bots and then just like have them walk around, because it's very difficult to simulate this many players on the server at once, load that we're seeing right now. because like the things that we care about in this case. I just want to teleport to me. Oh, hello, Froggy. The things that we see in this case are like at like real bandwidth usage. If it was a bot, then maybe like the client wouldn't show their bandwidth usage in the same way, or yeah, just like the amount of people online, what they're asking to do. So, for example, if you're walking just off in a direction, you'll run into like the server will have to process more as it renders more and more terrain. So, like for example, like as I have like the admin tool on, but as I fly towards this mountain, I'm going through the world at like a very low level of detail, and so all of these mountains over here aren't actually rendered by, well, not really rendered, but they're not, they haven't been generated by the server yet. A very crude version of them has, but as we like approach this mountain, we'll be able to see is that it's like very fine and there's nothing here, and then also like as I arrive, I'm busy now. Oh man, okay, I ran into the mountain. I might have to home. Okay. Here, let's see. Yeah, so as I approach this mountain over here, it'll start spawning in as I get closer, but not before. So yeah, that was interesting. So I guess I collided with the terrain, but since that terrain wasn't actually rendered yet, and since it was just a crude version, it actually extended further out than it showed me, and so... Oh, there's a pyramid up here. How about that? I don't remember what... Oh yeah, so the point I was trying to make is if you have like 100 bots that are trying to join a test server or something, you want them walking off in a direction so that they get the server to have to start rendering the terrain. Yeah, it looks like our tick rate's sitting at about 50 milliseconds per tick. So just for reference, ideally we want 30 ticks per second, I think, right now. And what that means is that every tick should be at most 33 milliseconds. And if we're extending past that, then that means that there could be fewer ticks per second, which means that we have to account for the fact that it will either start looking choppy or it will start taking longer to send stuff to clients that should be sent. So yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, someone said in chat, I'm impressed how the game handles so much going on, honestly. Yeah, that's a super big thing. With so many people on the server and so much happening all at once, like all of the combat, all of the particles, there's a lot of different systems that have to work together to make this this actually work. So for example, when I'm here in the city with everybody else, let me just see where... Okay, some people over there. I think this is where the Colosseum is. So yeah, if we go over to the Colosseum over here. So here, there's a ton of stuff going on. We have a ton of people moving around. We have a ton of lights. We have a ton of attacks going on. And so from the renderings perspective, we have to consider a lot. Like if we have all of these 3D models in the world and they're all moving around and they're all attacking, right? We have to make sure that the game can still run it at 60 frames per second. And so that also combines with, for example, like these particle effects we can see. And so when someone does like the flame shockwave, or we saw like the green stuff here, there's a lot that has to go into optimizing like the particle math that gets them moving around the world. And actually, let me just pull up diagnostics here. I think it should tell me somewhere particles that are visible, but since... How do I remove someone from my party? I want to see under Sam's name. Does anybody... Slip, do you happen to know how to remove someone?
Yeah, there's a key to check. I think there's a party key.
Not P.
1 second.
Social, but I don't think it's there.
How does that work? I probably haven't done it in a while.
Yeah, I think if I log back in and log in, we should be good. Sorry, Sam, you've been booted. Oh yeah, I think we have like when you log out, you have to wait a few seconds before you log back in, just so that at least one save can happen to the database. So while you're waiting for that, I'm just going to check. Cool, I am back in. Okay, so let's go on over here. Yeah, okay, so if we take a look at the diagnostics, I can see we have like 10,000 particles going on right now. So that's like another aspect we have to care about, is making sure like all the particles that are happening in the world aren't slowing down the client. And this is all from the client perspective. So like everything we see on the screen is just my computer trying to render it. But then the other side of this is that we have to care a lot about the server making sure that it can actually handle all of these players working together. And so like one of like the biggest features of Veloren is the fact that we're using Rust as the programming language to build it. And this is allowing us to do a lot of things differently, or just sort of like more efficiently, more ergonomically. And so when it comes to doing multi-core processing, it's simple on the client. Well, not simple. It's made a lot easier on the client, and it's made a lot easier on the server because of a lot of guarantees that Rust gives us. And so with like the Rust borrow checker and making sure that data races can't happen, then we can be a lot more confident with our system when it's going through and processing 100 players every tick, that when it does work on different threads, when it comes back, it will be done in a way that we expected it to, and not sort of like a magical stuff could go wrong if memory is touched in the wrong way, kind of C++ kind of thing.
I suppose memory garbage collection is also quite a big thing, because we can like rely on each frame being consistent in time with all other frames, since there's no like random collection process that can just pause everything suddenly.
Yeah, sorry, that was about the garbage collector, right?
Yeah, since
Yeah,
we don't have
there.
one like a lot of like engine systems have.
Yeah, so that's a pretty great point. When it comes to languages like Java and Python and other stuff. So like, for example, the first Minecraft, Java solves the problem of like memory by having like a garbage collector that goes and picks up after you. But the problem with that is that you don't have control on when this runs, and it will just cause your program to freeze for a second. You can't really get around this. And so yeah, while you have the control in C++ to do a lot of stuff with memory, you don't have the garbage collector, and so it allows you to make a lot of mistakes very quickly, or not very quickly, but very easily. Whereas in Rust, on the other hand, it takes like a third option of the compiler will make you code in a certain way. But the benefit of this is that while it's running, the compiler, or rather the runtime, is able to, not even the runtime, it's just coded into the assembly to clean up after you, and it's coded in a way that's safe.
At the expense of our sanity, of course, when writing the code.
Yes, and Rust does very well with the compiler errors and warnings to make this a much nicer experience. I just want to mention momentarily, Sabinik will be joining the stage, and so if anybody is here who doesn't want to be streamed, just a heads up on that. Or like on the stage, that is. Nobody in the audience is being streamed, but we're going to be chatting with Sabinik a little bit about kind of some of the new features and just some other stuff here and there. I'm going to invite to speak, and so Sabinik will drop in momentarily. Oh yeah, Froggy mentioned in chat, yeah, I moved too quickly when I was flying towards a mountain, so I ended up inside the train. Imagine making an MMO where more than 100 people fast fireball the game with lag.
All right.
Hello,
I think
hello.
we're in.
Yes, you are good.
Oh,
Yes, great. You're coming out through perfectly. Let me just add you into the stream as well. All right,
good.
you are on. Angel on fire. What do you want me to call you exactly, so I don't?
Angel's good. Whatever
Angel's
works
good.
for you. Whatever floats your boat.
Beautiful. And if someone in the chat can just let me know whether we can hear Angel fine, or if I need to turn it up, what have you. But welcome to the stream.
Yes.
Thanks so much for putting this on, and the whole entire team. I definitely want to be the first to say this is amazing. This has been absolutely fantastic. I've had almost zero lag, 163 people online. It's just too exciting.
Yeah, and I think definitely with this version, we're seeing that, as you mentioned, we don't have like as much lag on this release party with way more players, and we have like a lot more to do this time. So we got this arena going on, we got like the wall to climb, we got just a lot of stuff happening. And so I think whether you're like a newcomer or someone who's played Veloren a lot, there's like a lot to do with this release party for sure.
Absolutely, and I'm really enjoying all the little obstacle courses, all the user built fortresses and coliseums and all this awesome stuff. So it's been absolutely fantastic. I mean, this is everybody really stepped up their game this round. How are you going to top this in the future?
Well, I think definitely there's a lot of area that we need to like sort of break out into when it comes to exploring like what story and quest will look like for players. And so this is like one of the biggest systems we've been waiting for such a long time. But especially with this version, we've seen the new spot system be introduced, and so this is something that Zester has spent a lot of time on. Zester, if you want to hop on the stage and talk a little bit about it, no worries. If not, I can try to give a little bit of an overview. But I know that you can give like a much better sort of description of it. But well, if Zester makes their way up, then we can do that. But otherwise, so the idea behind the spot system is that we can now do create little events around the world much better. And okay, Zester's here. Are you able to talk?
Cool.
Yeah.
You're very quiet, I think.
Yeah, so this is a system that it's sort of a halfway house between the tree generator and the site generator. Sites are particularly large things in the world, like towns or dungeons, and trees are obviously a lot smaller. And so I realized that there's a bit of a gap to be filled between these two things. And so this release, I introduced this new system called the SWAT system, and it's what allows a lot of the smaller events that you see in game to work. So you've got things like little sort of mini dungeons you'll come across, like a pirate hideout and so on. Mm-hmm. And this all works off the same sort of subsystem. Yeah. It's
pretty
quite nice to have.
I'd say it's pretty epic. So
explore the world.
So what I call those, I call them hideouts. I don't know what exactly they are, but let's say the pirates that show up with ships and the crystal and all that fun stuff. So that's a part of this, as you call it, spots.
Yeah. So they're locations in the world that get generated when the game starts, and
gotcha.
It tries to take a look at places in the world and work out which areas are going to be suitable for certain things based on things like biomes or temperature or gradient.
Gotcha.
And then it'll spawn them into the world. They're not too integrated with the rest of the game yet, so I'd still like to integrate them more with World Sim and stuff like that, make them a bit more interesting. But yeah, they're still quite an interesting thing to just watch out for as you're exploring the world.
Absolutely.
Get some loot if you manage to do well.
And just, I know you were adding in some of this user contributed art. I don't know what exactly you call it. I'm going to call it art. But how hard was that to do? Because there's just so much to it. I mean, there's been so much added over the last, I don't know, day or so that I haven't been on, at least.
I assume you mean
very
the stuff
interested.
that's in the world. Yeah, so I spent the last few days just adding things that I thought would be interesting to the world to make the release party a bit more interesting. So we've got stuff like the PvP arenas and the castle and the climbing wall and mazes and so on. Yeah, and a few of those were made by contributors.
Oh, that's great.
And the rest.
That was such a great idea. I mean, it really made this so much more fun. And I just can't believe, I still am like super shocked with 161 people, no lag. There were fireworks going off everywhere, mobs everywhere. I mean, can you speak a little bit about what was done since the last time to make it so much more enjoyable here on the server?
I actually don't think there's been a huge amount done since last time. We've made optimizations here and there when it's okay to do so, when there are opportunities to do so. But
So is it
in general, the fact that it's able to scale up so well is mainly because Rust makes parallelism extremely easy by allowing you to carefully control when code is executed and what data it has access to. And the patterns that it encourages means that you don't get many of the common issues with concurrency, like deadlocks and race conditions and so on. And so it makes it a lot easier to split up code across many cores and have the server basically scale up to the server we have now, which is, I think, running on 48 cores.
Wow. Oh gosh,
That's a bit of a beast.
That is a beast. So is that really just for the release party, or you're constantly trying to run a 48 core server? That seems
Yeah,
overkill.
it's just for the release party.
Okay.
But,
Yeah,
it
so
doesn't scale perfectly. We do have some bottlenecks here and there that we'll try to sort out in time. But yeah, it seems to work okay.
I just went through the glider course, and I got to say that was awesome. Also, Yandamin, thank you for letting me know that. Hopefully that's better. Yeah, this is fantastic.
yeah, and I think in terms of like types of ways to play and stuff, so like the spot system was a really great foundation that allows us to really sort of dictate how smaller events can go on around the world, but also be almost like a translation layer between like this real-time world simulation and like historical world simulation that we've done. So for example, while terrain is generated, cities are placed, and then economy simulations happen between these cities, and then cities grow and shrink. And although these aren't completely ready yet, there's a lot of the backing architecture that is being worked on for them. But even though that's happening, that's not very apparent to the player. And so in future versions, where we really want to see it go is like some way to understand that the story and the history that has happened in like a village or a town or a castle or a kingdom, anything like that, can generate content through like quests for the player. And so this is a system that we've been hoping to have for like such a long time, but it's becoming more and more viable with every release. And so yeah, hopefully in the long run, what we want to see is like these player generated sort of like structures that you can go and play on and enjoy, but then also mesh that with the ability to, like, as a player, go with your friends and complete quests and complete objectives. And so yeah, in the long run, I think we just did an interview with a Spanish I think like Gaming on Linux, but it's like a little blog there, and we talked about how before like a 1.0 release, we'd want to see like the story and questing as one of the main things, but also some way to add more plugins and modifications to the game, so that when players want to create like the mazes and the arenas and stuff like that, they can do it in like a much more like community driven way rather than like developer oriented first sort of thing.
Gotcha. So is that sort of like being able to introduce mods on your own?
Yeah, and so having some type of community location where people can go and see all of the mods, so like a website, you can download them. Well, and when I say download, I mean like your game client will download them automatically and get them running and stuff. But this can look as simple as like some new armor or some new models on characters, but hopefully be as complex as new game modes or different UI elements or anything like that. So if we're able to create that, then releasing like a 1.0 version with that type of stuff will make it a lot more reusable as like an application to build like on top of. And so that's really what we want to explore. And there's been a lot of work that's been done with the plugin system recently, but it's quite a large technical hurdle for sure to overcome.
No doubt. And we just love the fact that you guys, I mean, everybody on the entire team is just so fantastic. This community is so great. Again, I want to thank the community for setting all this up, spending your time, Zest, just getting things ready here as well. Everybody's done such a fantastic job, and I don't think this could have gone any better in my opinion. So congratulations on the successful and amazing launch that you've had so far. And hopefully we get release parties just like this in the future as well. And I'm super excited to keep playing.
Yeah, we can definitely hope for that. Yeah, thank you. It's see, I think every single time that we approach this number of players, everything looks good on the outside and it's running pretty well. But all of us on the inside, we're all freaking out and knowing that something can go wrong and everything crashes
Sure.
down. And but as long as the end user finds it enjoyable, then that we can take yeah, take that as a win.
You've got everyone's outdone themselves this time. I'll tell you that much. But
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, maybe you could talk a little bit about some of those stresses in the background that we really don't get to see as users, because it is part of the overall development of the game.
Yeah, so I think technically there's definitely a lot of things that when the server is running we have to pay attention to, and so I was talking about this a little bit earlier, but with historically we've found some of the most, well, not really most interesting bugs, but the hardest ones to find when we have like we're hitting those like record limits of players on the server. And so in the past it's been like the tick system is just taking too long every frame, and then that sort of tumbles downhill. And then like another one was that when players would connect, if they didn't make a proper connection, then they would like deadlock the server to stop other people from connecting. But as we've started to resolve a lot of these, this is definitely the first release party that we've had where we haven't, like, it hasn't reached a point where we're like, okay, well, it's the server is running and people are able to play, but we're basically taking a loss on this just because it can't go any bigger than this. But
Sure.
Right now it looks like it can scale up a bit better when it comes to we were talking about like the entity sync system. So for example, when like each ticket needs to send all of the information out to all of the players on what's happened, we might be able to do a little bit better with bandwidth. But it looks, with my estimates in previous versions, it's like, okay, we couldn't go above like 110, 130, whatever. But with this version, it looks like if there were like between 200 and 250 players on the server, we'd still be running at about the same pace. But above that, I wouldn't be entirely certain. And so I think those are like the big technical hurdles that I feel, because like I'm one of the main people heading up the servers. But you can also go take a look at like if you go to grafana.veloren.net, you can take a look at all of our graphs and maybe understand yourself how some of the red is not the is not like the place that it should be. But then I think so that's like the technical side from a release standpoint, that is. But then on the organizational side, since we're not like a proper like entity, we don't have like our 9 to 5 working on this type of stuff. I think a lot of stress also comes up from like right before a release party, making sure that we've done enough outreach, we've talked to the people that we need to, and this always happens a bit too late, and we always want it to be sooner. We always want to make sure that like the code freeze is handled in like a very clean way. But this time we've posted it on Reddit and got some pretty good upvotes there. We've reached out to the Spanish gaming on Linux, and then also like the English one, and just sort of like from the organizational side, we are, well, it is also like, I suppose, like a lot of imposter syndrome in a way, right? Like you in a way, it's scary to show off the thing that you've been working on for so long. And so although like we do like pushing it as much as we can, we're also very aware of the fact that if this was the release party where some post got like 5,000 upvotes and there was like 500 people on the server, this could be like the release party where that happens, and then everything just goes downhill. And so we're very aware of like all the duct tape that is holding stuff in place, and like how but so that's the thing though, like if we were to have a release party with that many people, it would be like an awesome experience. The server would crash and it would go terribly, but we could say that we had that many people. And so
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sounds like a very fine balance that you guys are constantly playing between.
yeah, of course.
Well, awesome. Well, I guess unless you guys have any more mentions, again, thank you so much for holding the event and doing all the work that you always do. And hopefully there's more people who are coming on, continuing to contribute and help the community out. I know it's a great community. I'll vouch for it for sure. Love playing the game. And yeah.
Great. Well, yeah, thank you very much. And it's always great having you at these release parties and hanging out. And I think it's always good to see the community kind of sharing it with the people that follow them, and just different streamers and stuff like that. And so always great to chat with you, Nick.
Yep. Appreciate it, Angel. Thanks, everybody.
Okie dokie. I've made it to the top of this castle. I think there's some prize up here. I can oh, it's a person. They chillin'. Well, hello there indeed. Thought it was a treasure chest. Also, I haven't paid attention until now, but I don't have the game audio coming through, and I feel like it's just because to get it running at some point I had to disable pulse audio on since I'm on like Arch or something like that, and something was just being funky, but I haven't re-enabled it yet, so we're just listening to like ambient background music and not actually the game soundtrack. However, the game soundtrack and the sound effects have been worked on very heavily of recent, and so I know that there's a lot of new content there to explore. We got 44 people in the audience. That's pretty cool. The only time that we've had this many people is every single time when we accidentally ping the entire Discord server because starting a stage pings everybody. Ugh. Zester, do you happen to know who's been working on some of these models that so for example like the Colosseum and the other stuff here? I don't know if Zester is around. Maybe not.
I think Fao is pretty involved in like the planning
true.
and probably the model making too.
Yeah, some of them are like super impressive. I'm like such a big fan of the Veloren logo. I love it just floating there in the sky. I think Zester might have mentioned something in chat. Oh, Vecro, nice. Smaller castle though. Yeah, I think the cool thing about voxel modeling is that so for characters I definitely couldn't do any of the art. Like it's quite amazing what the art and assets team is able to do. But then if we look at some of the other structures, like I don't know what this is properly called, if this is actually the Colosseum and the other one's not, but whatever. Like this structure is very architectural, and so very symmetrical, very mathematical, and like same with this castle over here. I think because you're almost building with Legos, it does give you the capability to create without worrying about artistic skill necessarily. Of course, like there's like a lot you can add to make it very artistic, but yeah, hopefully in the I think it would be super cool if in the future there's some type of editor that people were able to use for both creating characters and creating structures and creating just other things around the world.
Like an in-game Magica voxel would be really, really nice for editing structures and stuff.
Yeah, it would be cool to have like our own in-house Magica voxel that's basically feature similar, but we're able to edit it and change stuff ourselves. There's a question. Those look like whole models instead of made from random parts. Does that mean we can now make huge models like buildings for games? Oh, so yeah, that's a pretty good one. So I think for some of these models, I'm assuming that any of these like large standing out models are like handcrafted from scratch. But I know that when it comes to building towns and building bigger structures, so maybe castles and stuff like that, Zester has put a lot of work into exploring what putting certain pieces together will look like. And so I know there's a blog post, it's probably like blog like 50 or something, but maybe before that, but it talked about when you're laying out a town and you're putting the houses together, how you can put them together as puzzle pieces, and then this type of idea, and this is like almost like sci-fi tech, not really, but like I know what's the name of it, there was like this really cool YouTube video that showed wave collapse, so the wave collapse function to create different like buildings and places to like walk through, and it looks like very wave function collapse, as Esther mentioned here. It's a very cool way to generate content that looks like it fits well with one another, and it makes it look like proper architecture and stuff like that. But it takes a lot of work to to like get the pieces in place to be able to put together. But Zester is saying I might end up using it for a site too, perhaps. So I don't know exactly how it works. I've seen some of you do videos, and I love the idea. But it could also just be that I don't know enough about it to know that it's actually like not as cool as I'm thinking. Oh wait, oh yeah, free look. Wow, the sky is really something right now. This is very cool. Let me just go up to the top
Yeah, I
of the
think
mountain
the
here.
skybox got changes from Zester, where now like days can look a little bit different, and so like from day to day or night to night, you won't necessarily see the same exact shaders kind of replaying. You can have not weather, but like kind of a different types of nights, whether they're like more blue or more red or stuff like that.
Yeah, and so I sort of wondered about this because I wasn't sure of like the like how it was set up, but like every night looking different, and then only some nights you see like the aurora borealis um and yeah, so this one where it's like particularly like foggy, I don't know. I think like I haven't seen this type of scene in other games, but like if this wasn't like a voxel game, if it wasn't like 3D cubes making up the whole thing, and I instead just like walk over here and like I zoom in my camera so you can't see any of like the cubes. If you look at that, like I can't even think of any other like AAA games or anything that would look maybe so I'm no graphics developer. When I say this good, maybe it's just because I love Veloren so much, but I think that it's just amazing, like seeing like the mountains off in the distance and the different clouds and the colors and everything like that.
Yeah, yeah, it's really nice. So some people want it to be like, oh, we should just make this into a polygon game because everything else is there like perfect, and it's
Yeah,
but yeah, no, but it's a good aesthetic, and it all works together nicely. The very real looking backgrounds with the kind of artistic voxel style.
yeah, and so I think definitely like if you come from the cube world sort of feel and you're expecting like this to be like cube world 2, this is like really where we're able to differ ourselves, is that we found the aesthetic that we like, and we found that the way that to play that we like. And so we're not trying to like replicate like the voxel clouds of cube world. We're not trying to replicate like the same, well, I think in any type of like voxel game or anything, like our LOD seems very novel, like the fact that we can see mountains off in the distance and then stuff will render in. um yeah, it seems to be like a really solid addition that really emphasizes the fact that we have so much amazing world simulation and world generation and erosion going on. um yeah, it's very cool. Wow, I love the colors here. It's like green and there's some like fading into purple.
Yeah, this might be an aurora borealis. I think.
Oh, it totally is, it totally is. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because you definitely. Okay, yeah, yeah. We definitely have all the colors now.
Yeah, I'm not flying, I'm falling with style. Wow, yeah, like there's like all the differences in colors now.
Have you seen the gliding course? You were near it a couple minutes ago.
I think I saw it a little bit, but I haven't given it a try yet, just because on my
Okay.
monitor it's a bit difficult to see at night. But let me head over to actually just home. Oops, daisy. Nope. Okay. Is it you climb the wall and then you do the gliding course?
So it's actually on top of a mountain. So if you look at the map,
Oh, okay. Okay, I did see that actually.
Yeah.
I
think
think.
it's called Mount Enid. Yeah, it's not that small mountain. It's the bigger one. Yeah, on the right there. That's the one. You can enable mountain names on the
Oh,
right.
yes, okay.
There's a legend for mountain names.
A legend for mountain names. I see. Okay. And what you said it was in
Like
it?
yeah, and it's called Mount Enid. I think you're pretty close to it at this point.
Or like I was looking pretty close to it, you mean?
Yeah, you're standing. It's like right in front of you.
Oh, yes,
you're on
okay.
the left. Your character.
I see.
So right around there. Yep,
Here or
Enid.
something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Is it on the map where the spot is for it?
It won't show up. You should see it. You're go a little bit
I
left.
feel like it was at the
There might
top
be
of
a
the hill
twist
here.
delay.
Yeah,
But
'cause
yeah,
I
it's
remember
top
I
of
did
this
see
one.
I
Yep,
see
this is
the
it.
oh, I bet you I'm in the mountain again. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, let's give this a go.
Yeah, there we are. There's a platform down below somewhere.
Yeah, cool. All right, I'll give it a go as soon as it's Oh wait, do you go through the like the little thing down there?
there's hoops actually. It's a little bit hard to see at night, but there is a hoop that's like directly in front of the platform.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that. Oh man, this would be super cool, like with lights in it, and then. All right, let's give it a go.
You can probably just follow Froggy. Yeah.
Yeah, the real skilled players. Froggy has like, oh, not it's over here. Oh, this is 3. Did I not do 2 yet?
I don't know where to. I think we might be missing 2 because there's definitely nobody's been able to find it. But it goes 1 through 9, and then I think there's 2 more. Just missing 2.
Oh, nuts. Yeah, my flying skill is not on par with the people. I think the thing is that it feels supernatural as you move your mouse around to like move up and down and like drop at like a certain rate, which is like definitely like a testament to what the physics engine is capable of.
Yeah, it feels good. There's definitely like some skill to it too, to getting good at it, which is nice just because it rewards you for kind of understanding the mechanics a little bit better. But yeah, it's really cool, especially once you learn how to zip through. And this is good. This is a good session.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, lights on them would make them like stand out and be like really nifty. Like doing like the course at night kind of thing. Ooh. Another one. Oh, we're hex. We're going to the hex values now. Oh, that's neat. And you land on the chessboard. Very cool. Yeah, I don't know. I imagine like an entire game mode around just like starting court, like you're just doing courses. This is the Pyramid Mountain. Oh wow, I flew really far. How are they floating? Stable floating. Magic. Checking if there's any questions here or there. You can break the block of the pyramid. They're mineable. Ah, interesting. I want to do the course again. I want to start from all the way from the very beginning. Kind of want to wait till day. Is it? I guess maybe debug might tell me what time of day it is. Yeah, okay, it's midnight. I'll go check out the pyramid in the meantime. It was down here. Might have been over on this mountain. Okay.
Oh,
I wasn't gonna do it, but yeah. If someone else will, then bless the admin powers. All right, we fly. Oh wow, these look cool. Yeah, I think at night with lights that would be super neat. Yeah, but I'd love to explore. So like as Nick was asking, like what types of stuff you can do next. With this version, we have like the ability to have persistent terrain, and so like models can be like saved to a file. And so, for example, before we started the the last one is glowing. Okay, James has to look at the last one. So as we were setting up the release party server today, Zester sent a map with all of these different parts set up, and so that should allow servers to quite easily swap out like what terrain they're using. So maybe, for example, you'll load in like some massive castle map or something if you and your friends want to do something on there, or like in this case, like a whole bunch of courses with all of the. Okay, the last loop is glowing. I don't know if this loop glowing. It might in the dark, but I know the board down here does. Is anybody with me? I got a few here. Yeah, but like just several courses here and there. Very nifty. I mean, this is still like a ton of fun. Yeah, regardless if they have the glow to them. But yeah, I think giving like contributors the ability to create more content like this. Is it possible to spawn everybody? Well, not that I want to like ruin people's like release party and like what they're working on, but or like, yeah, TP everybody. We can't, unfortunately. Maybe in the next version. All right, how do I mine? I think.
Do you have a pick?
I do.
Two kinds of picks. There's one that's a lot faster.
I do not have the fast one. I have a pick, which is fine.
Ah, okay. Yep.
Is there anything in the middle of the pyramid? Pseudo TP. Yeah, TP everybody to one. Oh. What's this? Oh, thank you, Froggy. Yeah, okay. I think after trying everything, I think my favorite is the I need to turn on my broom. Yeah, I think my favorite is the course. That is pretty cool. I like the parkour as well, but I think it's a little bit more difficult, maybe based on like the different physics and stuff like that, or like the server side physics. I'm not sure if I have that enabled right now. Oh, fireworks. I think those are fireworks. Maybe they're not. Just cannons. Oh, it's nice and foggy. Someone placed a campfire up here. Nice. So if you mess it up. Oh, wait, can you push campfires?
I think it might be acting a little weird because it's a spawned campfire, but usually you can.
Can I become this campfire? I don't think so. Can you become
Yes, possession works on campfires. I think they don't have an inventory component, so you can't get out. And if you log out, that removes the campfire.
But if I wear the campfire, can I put on my glider? Because then I could die
No.
and respawn on
because-
myself. That would be very cool.
I don't think so.
Gliding
I think-
campfire.
Gliding is probably hard-coded to humanoids. I'm not sure.
Mm. All right, I think I'll stream for like another 15 minutes-ish. But yeah, it's good to see nothing really going wrong with the server. So we're going to leave the server up as is for about 24 hours. That's what our plan is. And that will let people like play with the terrain and everything that is up right now. And then we'll scale it back down to a smaller one. Now, this might be like an interesting conversation, but probably like infeasible or whatever. But I was thinking earlier today, I'm like, every single time I want to like get the release party server ready, I have to like take it down for maintenance, and I have to like set up like get it to reboot as the other one, and then I have to like restart the Docker container and everything. But I was wondering if it's, or what would it take to have two Veloren servers running at the same time, and then transfer the memory from one to the other, and so basically use one of them as like a read-only database, like, or like the new one as like a read-only database, and then as like the main server was taking requests, it would then start passing those over to the other server after it synced like the entity component system, and then at some point be able to just transition from one server to the other without any downtime whatsoever. I was thinking about that, and I'm like, that would be kind of interesting to explore. And Zester is typing right now. Incredibly hard, incredibly unsafe, and I have no idea how you do that. Okay, well, I thought it would be cool. But
It is cool, but there's like a lot of hurdles, like OS related resources, like file descriptors, because those won't carry over neatly.
yeah, and so I think the direction I was thinking in was when we send, if I'm not mistaken, when we send information to the client, we're almost sending like the in-memory representation of objects so that they can just be deserialized and why not sync between server and server?
Close.
Yeah.
You
Rescaling
say
implies
library,
CPU count.
you say serialization library that like doesn't do a lot. It almost just copies the memory and sends it over.
Yeah.
We compress it, of course, but that's a gist.
So I think like the alternative to that is like you'd want to have some type of system that could distribute the work across different servers. And so, for example, when you have terrain being generated, the main server would source that out to a different server to do, so that the main server doesn't have to be clogged up by it. And then if you wanted to scale up, then what you'd just be doing is scaling the number of workers that you have available. Oh no, okay, now Sharp's here. Oh no, okay. I'm just saying this because I thought it was a pretty cool idea, but now we have like the actual the people who've done like a lot of work with this distributed type of stuff. All right, what do we see here? So Zester mentions that one of the big items is that when you rescale, you change the number of CPUs that you use, but then it creates like num CPU will cache that in memory, so you'd have to change that value in memory, which is unsafe. And then on top of that, there's like a lot of different unknowns. If you build the machinery for handling off consistent crossing to another server, that's probably the most of machinery for live migrating. Yeah.
I suppose one issue is that like we did a lot of erosion simulation, and like splitting that up so that different machines can do it without having access to the data of all the other machines, I'd imagine is kind of hard.
Well, I think that the erosion simulation, that's just during the world generation step. And so that, like when the server's running, it shouldn't be doing anything like that at that point. But I think more, for example, like if real-time simulation or something like that. Yeah. I mean, I like other ideas that I've thought of, or like not considered in a technical sense, but if we have like one Veloren island, if there were multiple islands that you could like cross over to, and then as you were like crossing from one to the other, it just loaded you from one server to another.
I suppose that would be a lot of easier, like if you had logically separate worlds, because that's kind of like how all games do it, like Minecraft like the Minecraft multiplayer networks and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah, portals between worlds
yeah,
is like that sort of idea. And then Sharp mentions that erosion simulation is okay, so lots of other things that you have to do in real time. But yeah, so the biggest point that is very true is that when it comes to synchronization, our entity component system and all of the processing that we do on it, and processing we do on the world, all of that comes from is able to be done so quickly because it's all on the same computer sharing the same memory. And so if you were to take a lot of this information and then try to split it to somewhere else, then you'd lose a lot in that synchronization cost, or like the amount of time that it takes to not just talk to RAM but talk to another computer. And so if you were going to do things on another computer, you'd want to be giving it like super long-lived tasks that we're not expecting back for like potentially several seconds. And it takes that takes the work off of the main server. But then the other part of that is that should be a task that is just done on some other CPU on the main server anyways, because it's becoming more and more prevalent to scale up server capabilities with like lots of extra CPUs. And so until our bottleneck is that we're using 100% of all CPUs, then yeah, it's really not worth worrying too much about that. And like, for example, right now we're using like 25% of all 48 CPUs. So yeah, Sharps mentions, I think we can get Veloren scaling quite well on multi-core. So again, the way that we optimize for this is make sure that the main thread that is doing all of the work is able to send out as much work as possible to other threads. So with this current method, we should be able to hit our player target of about 1,000 players per world on a single server with a very large map. with maybe some stuff proxied for bandwidth purposes if necessary. So what I sort of understand from that is like you have one main server that's doing all of the work, but it's almost like a database for a few other servers to be querying. So those other servers are the ones that players are actually communicating to, and the main server is just giving it information on how to act every frame.
Yeah, I
or every
think
tick.
the issue is like it becomes really hard to have like that many connections that require a lot of bandwidth to a simple server. With just one link down to a server. So if you can have multiple servers that players connect to, but they all relay the network connection to one server internally.
Yeah, and so
So
I think like
networks a lot faster.
yeah, the biggest example of this is the terrain that we have to send to clients is by far the largest thing that has to go over the network. And so if like 3 servers are able to have a synced version of what the terrain is at a specific time, then if the main server, like someone, for example, put a model down here, then it would send those out to the 3 other servers, and those 3 servers would be like almost like a content distribution network specifically for terrain, which would mean that maybe a client would be connected to a terrain server to receive all of the terrain, and it would get like the full bandwidth from there. But that bandwidth wouldn't be conflicting with the more important bandwidth, which is making sure that every single tick players receive information on where they should be moving or doing anything. Yeah, so slightly increased latency, but way more bandwidth. And so, yeah, for the items that don't matter as much for latency. So, for example, terrain, larger world updates, or I think terrain is probably the biggest thing. Pretty much everything else needs to be real time. But yeah, taking that load off the main server is really that would be a massive benefit to us. Because right now, with however many players we have, we're currently using like the server's using 36 megabytes per second, like around 30 megabytes per second in bandwidth, and that implies that each client is using around 200 kilobytes per second of bandwidth, which is pretty high per client. But the main thing is that it's rough that the server is taking that much of a hit. Yeah, so essentially like scaling up. So distributed systems are very cool, but there's a lot of research that's been done, and I shouldn't be trying to reinvent the wheel because I'm the only one on stage. Yeah, so some questions in chat about like what a release actually means. And so for us, like if you've played the game like last week, it's pretty feature similar. Everything's in the open. You can download nightlies. You can see everything that's happening. But for us, it's just the opportunity to say this is like when this is the day that it's released. We're gonna have a release party. We're gonna try to get as many people on the server as we can. Which like this time is like the first time that we've been able to actually properly do that without worry of the server crashing. But for other either like just events and stuff, it's mostly like we have our weekly meeting, and so we talk about a lot of stuff there. But then yeah, like the only big thing that we have is the release parties. I have lost track of where the second thing is. All right, we'll just go down here. Oh, there it is. Is it possible for me to get like a more powerful lamp very easily?
Let me check if I know the command. The one I was thinking of, I don't think is actually brighter.
Oh, holy moly. Karmic Knight has a decent amount of stuff in the inventory. That's a clean inventory. Wow, I like that you can see other people's inventories. Oh, they're offering me a lantern. It's a purple lantern. What a deal. Mogul moves. Yeah, let's see. Oh wow. Is this me? Oh wow. Okay, this is a very cool lantern. I like this. Lantern 1000. Oh, okay, I see. My monitor is also pretty dark, and so that could be it. Oh. Hello, Yuri Momo. Oh, well, there's that one over there. All right, before we stop the stream, any of the developers here, anything else we want to chat about? Announce, say, anything along those lines? Oh, I will say, we have like our donations. We do them through Open Collective, and so if you are checking this out for the first time and you like seeing the fact that there's so many people working on this really awesome open source project, you can support us through our Open Collective. If someone wants to drop those links in Twitch and Discord, but what the Open Collective does is that it puts money directly back towards our servers, and so we were stressing out because we don't want to run our 48 core server for 24 hours, but I think when we think about it like that, so it's like 17 euros or something like that, like 20 euros, whatever. But the more supporters we have, the more we can run awesome stuff like the release parties and not be as worried about how long they're up for or like the scaling of it or anything like that. And so, yeah, the Open Collective, we got quite a few awesome supporters there already, and everything that comes from there goes right back into the game. And so if you have a little bit extra and you're willing to donate a little bit, it's always appreciated. Okay, there's something interesting happening in chat. Not super, just like, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think we'd get it scaling this well. Yeah, so I remember like the day we had like 80 people on the server at once. All of us admins were like, what the heck is it can actually run this? Oh, Yuri wants to trade with me. I'm sorry. Oh, that's a nice inventory. So yeah, it was crazy to see that many people on the server at once, and we didn't think that we'd be able to push these boundaries, especially because in a lot of ways we're coming in as like the underdog. We're using like a language that isn't like really well known for game development, and we're like a completely open source project and all of that kind of stuff. But okay, what's this? Witch's mantle. Oh, this is like a super cool lantern. Okay. And so yeah, as Esther's mentioning, we didn't imagine it would scale as well. It used to be only 10 players. It turns out the common wisdom is wrong. Games are easy to scale. And just use Rust-Yum. We love to see it. Okay, what kind of lantern do we have here? Wait, am I like... Okay, this is pretty good. I like it. Rust TM. But yeah, because we were like not by any means like one of the first games to use Rust, but at this point we're one of the largest ones. It's definitely great to be a sort of an example of how entity component systems can be used, and how Rust's paradigm really works well for large group projects that don't have like a central authority. And so a lot of what we do can be like testament to this, and so it's really awesome to be like a part of it and be able to show off everything that is capable of doing. And then I mean, our goal is definitely that in the future, like the ecosystem grows a lot more, and a lot more engines are able to use it, and a lot more games are able to find interesting ways to do things. But especially with the game that Veloren is, like, we want it to be like very scalable. We want to be able to handle tons and tons of entities in the world and have like multi-core processors really be able to handle them well. And like as we go into the future, and like as servers like really define themselves by what their core count is, then we are like at the head of this pack of games that are trying to make use of modern CPUs. All right, so I think I'll end off the stream here, 3:30, about an hour and a half after launch party started. I'm gonna go take a break because nothing is going wrong, and that's very cool. And so I think a lot of us developers will be relaxing after the last few days of work. If you want to see all of the changes that have happened with this release, go check out the blog post on Veloren.net. We have information about everything that's happened, a link to the changelog. We have some notes from developers, and so that's all super cool. And thank you for coming out and checking out all of the stuff, all of the party and the chats and the technology and everything like that. And we will see you in a few months for the next one.